Okay, so in this video I'm going to go over how to add floors to a existing elevator system. So as you can see right now, we have a elevator system consisting of 10 floors. Now let's say I want to add 2 more floors to that. So let's just go ahead and rename this to 12 floors. And then rename this to 12 floors as well. Okay, so the first step you need to do is you want to click on the top section or the top frame representing the elevator shaft, and so it's called top frame, and then just drag it up. Now you'll notice they're all saved as prefabs, and yeah, that's just something I already did. So yeah, don't worry about that. So there, just grab the top frame prefab and just slide it up. For now, we're just gonna leave it up there so it's out of our way. Now you want to copy and paste however many levels you want to add. So let's say I want to add 2 floors. So we'll just add these 2 floors again, and we'll just copy and paste that, and we'll drag it up to however we want to position it to. Now I had it set so they were around 5.26 units apart. So if you want to be precise about this, I'll just go ahead and just punch in like the exact unit. You're gonna go ahead and punch in the exact unit offset, like 33.3 plus 5.26. If you have a calculator, just go ahead and punch that in. So that's good. That's good advice, because since it's an elevator system and you want these units to be pretty precise, it's best to use a calculator and punch in the exact offset instead of instead of just dragging it by hand and just kind of like positioning. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that. I mean, I guess I guess that's a workable solution, but obviously it's gonna be like you're gonna be a few units off, and like it's not gonna be perfect, So when you're dealing with something like an elevator system, you really want each floor to be equally spaced apart. So it's probably best to punch it in manually, like the offsets. So for example, this is the 9th floor, and then this is the 10th floor. So the Y offsets between the 9th and the 10th, they should be the same as the Y offsets between the 9th and the 8th. So if you take a look at the number 9 here is 33.30872, and then number 8 here is 26.04872. Now if you figure out the offset between those 2 numbers, basically you subtract the 33.308, subtract from 28, you'll get 5.26 in this particular elevator system. And you probably want to just make note of that when you add new floors. You want to add them by an offset of 5.26. Yeah. So anyways, for now for this video I'm just gonna eyeball it. Just gonna use my eyes and just kind of put it right there. Yeah, right there. All right, so there. So yeah, as I said, this is not suggested. It's probably best to punch it in with the calculator, manually figure it out. So there. The next thing you need to do is bring the top prefab down. Now this one is not so important that it's exact, because this doesn't really affect the elevator movement and whatnot. The elevator doesn't go all the way up here. So anyways, just position it so it sits okay well. Next thing you need to do is also reposition the wire frame, because the top of the wire is sitting down there. So you just grab the cable end top. So the cable, so you'll notice the wires are kind of like dangling in midair. So you want to drag those wires up so they sit properly at the new height of the elevator shaft. So you basically want to just click on the cable end top game object and then just drag it up. So the wires kind of sit in there. So there you go. So now it looks, it's just a visual thing. So it just looks proper, like it sits up. Like the elevator will work like if you don't do that, but still, anyways, just do that. Trust me on that one. Okay, so the next step, copy and paste the section. All right, so next step we need to do is the floor signs. So when we created, also let's just go ahead and copy the concrete floors as well. So these are separate objects from the actual the frame. Because obviously when you add these elevator shafts to your level or whatnot, I'm assuming that the outside of your building may look differently. So that's why I kept the concrete floors as a separate game object. So anyways, we'll just go ahead and grab the top two, duplicate that, Control D, and then just drag it up so it lines up with the elevator frame. Okay. So when we want to make sure that that edge here lines up with that lip, so these two lips kind of line up. Yeah, I guess there's a bit of a, yeah, that's because we didn't, yeah, let me see. Yeah, that's because we pushed that one in a bit too high up there. Okay, there we go. Now clicking back there. All right, cool. So that looks all right. Yeah, cool. Okay, so that's done, and now the next step we need to do is we need to reassign the. See, next to the elevator, there's these floor signs. So when we created the two new ones, we'll need to assign them to their proper values. Yeah. So okay. So let's click on the two new ones. Now, if you go inside the concrete floors, that's where you'll find the floor signs. So just click on floor sign 10. Okay, so this one represents the 12th floor because we added two new floors. So if you go inside there, you'll notice right now it's pointing at it says 10, right? So we want to change that. So if you go to the mesh, you'll notice that it's pointing to the floor sign 10. Just change it to floor sign 12. So just drag that mesh into here from floor sign 12, and now it's going to show up as 12. So that was done by just going to the project, and then you'll notice inside the project the actual model is kept there. So when you click on the mesh here, it'll point to which mesh it's actually pointing to. So you can just quickly reassign floor signs from that. So now if you want to change it to 8 or whatnot, so yeah, so just change it to the appropriate floor that that it should be set to. So that's for number 12, and then for number 11, so notice that this is number 9 because we copy and pasted the 9th floor. So we'll just need to change that to 11. Drag it in there. All right, so that's done. And then the next step we need to do is copy and paste the new buttons. All right, okay, so yeah, go into the elevator shaft, and we'll need to create two new buttons because that represent the new floors. So we'll click there. So these two we'll just copy and paste. So Control D, and then let's just move that out of the way for now. Just move it up here, I guess. Don't worry, we'll reposition it later. So we'll need to change the mesh because right now it's assigned to the 9th floor. So just click on floor button 9, and you'll notice that it's assigned to the 9th floor. We can just change that to floor button 11. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so you'll notice it get offset a bit. Yeah, that's because when I imported the mesh from 3D Studios, I exported it as with a bit of an offset. So don't worry about that. We'll just reposition it later. So anyways, we'll just do the new one for the 10th floor, for the 12th floor, I'm sorry, and then just reassign it to the 12th floor mesh. Yeah. Okay, so now we've got them assigned to 11 and 12. And now we'll just need to reposition them wherever we should have them at. Oh, and the next step we need to do is actually rename it to 11 and 12. And also we need to go inside here and we need to move the trigger, because there's a trigger representing that allows the player to interact with it. So we just need to move that to where it should be. Yeah. So let's just put that over there. So that trigger just basically specifies where the player can press it on. So you can change the size of the trigger by just adjusting the scale of it. And so you can adjust the scale of it like that. Anyways, I don't really recommend doing any of that. Just keep it as it is, as it seems to work pretty well for me. And then yeah, move that one up there as well for the 12th floor. Probably helps to rename it, I guess. So floor button trigger 12 and floor button trigger 12. All right, cool. So yeah, there it is. It's positioned. Now you probably want to reposition the buttons, obviously, because this doesn't look proper at all. So we'll just go ahead and do that. We'll just move that out of the way so it's a bit easier to do this. So now you got 12 floors. We'll just need to take the 6 buttons here, and then take this one, just move it down to there, and then make these 2 down there, and then grab these so it's parallel to these ones, and boom, we got a more proper looking layout. Alright, okay, so the next thing you need to do is go inside of the buttons, and then the triggers you need to specify so that they are for the appropriate floor. So for trigger number 11, we need to say that it is for floor number 11. So just go inside the attributes and then just change it to number 11. And for number 12, change that to number 12. Yeah. Alright, so that's taken care of. Copy and paste the new buttons. Okay, so the next step we need to do is we need to go up to the actual elevator prefab. And now there's several attributes here that we will need to edit since we added 2 new floors. Don't have to edit any. You don't need to worry about a lot of these variables up here. Just pay attention to the ones that I'm going to cover in this video. So when you add a new floor, you need to edit the floor heights. Yeah, don't worry about target floors. That's used during code at runtime. So and for the floor heights, when you add new floors, you just need to specify the extra set of floors. So we got 12 now. Now these values here, they represent the position of the elevator, the Y position of the elevator for each specific floor. So at the first floor, the elevator is going to be at negative 15.9 Y. So what does that mean? So what that actually means is if you go inside of the game object for the prefab, you'll notice there's a bone called the elevator bone. So this is the actual bone that moves the elevator up and down. So you can see as I move the elevator, the Y value changes, right? So for the first floor, the Y value is at let me see, what was that? So it was at negative 15.9. So going down there, so we punch that in, it'll represent the elevator at the first floor. Right. Okay, so that makes sense. Now, since we added 2 new floors, we will need to find out what the Y position is for those 2 new floors. So what we do is we just drag the elevator up to those new floors and take note of the Y values. Okay, so here's the elevator at the 11th floor. There we go, 11th floor. So just line it up so the elevator shaft is kind of properly sits flush against the platform. Oh, that looks about good. So yeah, so you just copy and paste this Y value into the prefab, the elevator 12 floors prefab. So copy and paste this value, copy, Control C, and then go to the prefab at the top, and then plunge that into the 11th floor. The 11th floor. Now you notice it says 10, but you know, as we all know that arrays, they always start from 0, so it's off by 1. So the 10th element actually represents the 11th floor. So yeah, just pay attention to that. So make sure it doesn't throw you off a bit. So now we'll do that for the 12th floor, and then just grab the elevator, click on the elevator bone again, and then drag the elevator up to the 12th floor. And then copy and paste that Y value into the 12th floor. Alright, so there we go. We've done the that bit. Now we need to take care of the new elevator buttons, because when we these are the call buttons representing these guys right here. When we added 2 new floors, we added 2 new sets of call buttons. So we need to add that into the index here. So so instead of 10, we now have 12, and we just need to reference the 11th and 12th floor for these guys. So let's go to the 11th floor, and then click on the 11th floor. And you'll notice inside of the prefab, we'll just close that. So inside of the prefab, there are 2 sets of buttons. They're called call elevator button, and these 2 guys right here. So we just need a link. We just need to pass those into the elevator prefab up above. So click on that again. Sorry, and I'm just gonna lock it down just for the ease of doing this. So for the 11th floor, which is right here, we'll need to reassign them to they are for these guys. So we'll just drag that into there, and this one into there. Okay, so that was the 11th floor, and then we go up to the 12th floor, and then we'll click on these. It's easier to click on it from here. So we'll click on that button, and we'll drag it into the 12th floor. Alright, and then we'll just unlock it so it shows up the prefab. Oh, so another thing we need to do is we need to assign these buttons so then they represent the 12th. They represent their corresponding floors. So since this one is on the 12th floor, we need to just specify it as the 12th floor number. This is just so in code it knows which floor it represents. And then also for the 11th floor, and we will assign that to floor number 11. Okay, so that's done. Let's see how to page for buttons. Set counterweights. Okay, all right. So I think the last step we will need to do is basically we will just need to set. Sorry, I'm just gonna keep that over there. Set the position of the counterweights. So the counterweights basically animate. This counterweight, it moves up and down in accordance to where the elevator is. So when the elevator is at the very top of the shaft, the counterweight should be at the very bottom, and vice versa. When the elevator shaft is at the bottom, the counterweights go all the way at the top. So since we added 2 new floors, the elevator, we need to tell the counterweights that the maximum height that it will go is at the very top. So what we do is we specify the minimum, which we shouldn't have to change, but I'll just go through that real quick right now. So you click on the weight object, it's called weights, under the elevator box 12 floors prefab, and you take note of the Y position. So this is the Y position. It specifies how high it is. Copy and paste that into the, it's right here. It's called the weight min height. So that's the minimum height that the counterweights will be positioned at inside of the shaft. So Control V to paste that in there, and then we'll go to the elevator, the counterweight object again, and we'll drag it all the way up to the top of the shaft. So we'll just go ahead and drag it up to where, oops, there we go. Drag it up there, and now let's position it so it's at the very top properly. So this looks about good. I mean, this is the position at which the counterweights will be when the elevator shaft is at floor 1. So copy and paste that y value into the elevator box prefab at the attributes called weight max height. So basically represents the maximum height the counterweights shall go when the elevator shaft goes all the way to the bottom. All right. So that should be it. Now we can go ahead and test it to see if I missed anything. Now to test it, just go ahead and position your player start wherever you want him to be. So let's just put him on the first floor and press play. And then the red button basically represents where he's going to be pressing. So now just left click, and then now it'll bring the elevator shaft down. Alright, so let's just go ahead and test the new floors. We'll go to 12, oh sorry, 12, 11. Yeah. Alright, so now just close that. Okay, something went wrong there. Let me just take a look. It should have went up to the 12th floor. I might have missed something here. LED displays, target floors, floor heights 12, call buttons 12, floor buttons. Oh shit. Yeah, I didn't punch in the floor buttons. Okay. Oh, sorry. I forgot to link the floor buttons. So inside of the elevator shaft, when you click on the elevator box prefab, I needed to specify the new floor buttons that I added, which were right here. So I added those two new floor buttons, but I didn't specify I didn't link them properly. So I need to link that right now. So for 10 and 11, basically floors 11 and 12, we just throw these triggers, basically the floor button triggers, and then just throw those into the array of floor buttons. And yeah, that should do it. I think that was why I was fucking up there. So let's press play again. Let's, 12, 11, 12. Okay, let's go. Come on. Whew. Okay, so we are on floor 11. Yada yada yada. Now it should go up to number 12. Alright, so there you go. I've successfully added 2 new floors and it should be working pretty well. Easy peasy, huh? Alright. So another thing also pretty cool, while you're in the play mode, the elevator has an extra control that you like, depending on how you want to set up your level. The elevator, you can actually open the elevator shaft. If you click on the elevator box prefab, the escape hatch, you can actually open that. It's called just click on B, open hatch, and then you'll notice that the hatch is open. So yeah, so I mean, like, I guess that's something you can do for your level if you want. Like, if you want to add some logic later where the player can go inside and like maybe he can climb out of that hatch or something, you know, that the functionality is there for you to do that. So yeah, it works pretty well. So yeah, to open and close the hatch, just click on the game object for now. Just yeah, now it's closed, and now it's open. Yeah, so however you want to use that, that's really up to you. But So anyways, that ends this tutorial on how to make new floors. All right. Let me just, how do I stop this? Stop! God. Hang on. Sorry. Stop recording.